Good evening everyone, and welcome to the Planning and Highways Committee meeting today, the 11th of June. I've just got some house rules to read out, so if you can just bear with us. Thank you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Councillors and officers are reminded of their commitment to the civility and respect pledge and to be mindful of this during the meeting. Please be aware that the Council is video recording this meeting and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I would just like to highlight some key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set to silent. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor you entered through. The fire exits are via the doors out of the chambers and down the external fire escape stairs or via the main entrance that you enter the building through. The assembly point is outside the Royal Mail Parcel Office on West Street. In the event of a fire, the lift should not be used. For those that require the lift, officers will guide you with the correct process to exit the building. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with the key points as follows. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. As chair, I will interject if needed to reinforce this. When the public participation agenda item is introduced, please raise your hand to show you wish to speak, and I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure you can be heard across the room. I would ask that the participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of the agenda item to limit distractions for other participants. Members of the public looking to leave the building will need to be escorted out by a council officer. If the meeting goes into confidential session, a short break will be held to allow members of the public to leave. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order. I will then gesture for you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the Council, I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's meeting. Thank you. Right, we move on to agenda item 1, apologies for absence.
Yes, we've got apologies from Councillor Buchanan and we've got Councillor Dunn, his substitute.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, disclosure of interest. To receive any disclosure by councillors of interest that they are aware of in relation to matters on the agenda, whether registered or not, and confirmation of any procedure steps they will take because of this. Council arriving late in the meeting will be asked to confirm if they have any interest disclosed at this point. Councillor Bristow.
Yeah, I'm not officially on this committee, so I won't be voting on anything, but thanks for having me at the table. But I just want to say that I won't be contributing to any discussion on LW 260244 for potential personal conflict of interest, and I also won't contribute on the number 5, the South West Section Plot one.
Thank you. Councillor Warman.
Yeah, I'd just like to declare an interest in the Seaford Football Club ones because I'm an outside body representative for them, although I have not met with them yet or anything, so I will still take part in discussion.
So you're councillor representative.
Councillor representative.
I'll mirror that then if we're declaring this.
Okay. Did I see another hand go on? Okay. I've got an interest on agenda item South Downs National Park, Chimpton Brooks, as I'm a member of the National Trust. Item 3, public participation to deal with any questions or brief representations from members of the public physically in the meeting room in accordance with relevant legislation and Town Council policy. This is basically on any items on the agenda, but if you're going to speak on specific planning applications, we'll do that before each application. Planning applications, LW/26/0258, St John's School, 64 Fell Road, demolition of existing vacant buildings and the construction of a specialist dementia care unit, use class C2, with associated daycare centre, communal facilities, access from Fell Road, car parking, landscaping and amenity space. That's it. Is there any members of the public? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. May I remain seated, if you can all hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. My name's Charlie Grimble. I live in Fell Road, in one of the oldest houses in the area of established character in which this site sits. And therefore I have followed the development history of this site in particular for some time. I have written to all the members of this committee on the 8th of June and this morning, setting out my concerns. But my starting position is this, that I think this is the least worst option for this site. Because I think it is likely to get planning permission on appeal, even if it's rejected by Lewes District Council. So that's my position. But I think there are serious defects in the advice given to members, and particularly in this paper, which is the sports mitigation paper, which is part of the documentation going to LDC. Basically, you can see from the plan there is a total loss of amenity open space. Lewes District Council changed the proposals for this site, which is SF2, to include 1.52 hectares of amenity open space, and therefore there is a total loss of amenity open space to the town, which is already deficient, as demonstrated by the work that I did in the neighbourhood plan, which was adopted back in 2020. So the key thing is, first of all, this project must mitigate that loss of amenity open space. That's the first point. The second point is that they say the sports field was largely unused as there is no history of public use. First page, para 2.8. This is not so. 1914, this was Pilgrim School until, 1935, this was Pilgrim School until 1997, and they hired out the pitch to local clubs when not being used by themselves. It merely stopped because it became a special needs school, and for safeguarding reasons, outside organisations were not permitted to come on board. So it's not about use. That statement is factually incorrect, and they rely on it. Okay, I then turn to the next major problem with this, in that with the support of Sport England, who in my opinion in this case is a complete chocolate teapot, they have set out a methodology for assessing the compensation or mitigation for the loss of sports facilities on this site. They quote the Newlands development. The relevant documents are in the public domain and I have looked at them, and the key thing is the Section 106 agreement that was entered into by Lewes District Council and Bellways in July 2020. That was not relating to amenity open space. It was relating solely to the provision of sports facilities on that open space. So the Newlands Section 106, where a figure of £350,000 was proposed as a mitigation, is not something that relates to the amenity open space side, but the physical provision of hard infrastructure for sport.
I have to bring you to a close.
Yes,
you
that's
have
fine.
your 4 minutes.
Right, I'm really sorry. So the key thing is that, okay, may I just sum up then? The key thing therefore is that there should be no mitigation in the value of the sports provision below 350, and there should be provision for the loss of amenity open space in addition. I propose a payment of £650,000. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else like to make any comments on this application? Right. Yes, sir.
Eric Rebellious, we're back on to St John's, and just to reinforce about the school facilities being used, I was a member of Cookmere Canoeing Club. We used to do sessions in the pool. Also, our youngest son, who's now 30 odd, used to play football on the tennis court with buddies, neighbours, on weekends, you know, when the children weren't there, they'd gone back.
And that was about 2010?
Probably about 2010. I just wanted to reinforce that I noticed they've taken away the goalposts, you know, they've taken away the evidence of sport being played. That would be it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Now, yes, madam.
Christine Richardson, Boundary Rise. I'd just like to support what Charlie has said.
Thank you. Is that everybody now? I now open it up to the committee. Who would like to lead on this application? Silence.
I don't want to be the first to jump in.
Could I say something?
Yeah.
Just
You
for,
don't have to stand.
just for clarity, I'm not actually a member of this committee, but as a councillor I'm allowed to be here, but I can't vote. So, but I am a ward councillor for this area. So, Chair, there are various things that have been said, and I fully support those. Regarding what Charlie Grimble said about mitigation, I can't understand. Yes, there's money being provided. We've already got money which we can't use. So we've got a problem there. We could have £1 million. We still don't know what to do with it because we can't find the land on which to use it. If we get the LDC SOAR money, 106 money back again into our area, we may be able to use it to upgrade pitches if we can find that space. So that's one point. So the football pitch, yes. Badgers. I'm just concerned, the badgers, if you look at that kind of rather diamond bit at the bottom right-hand corner, the badger sets are in the triangle, which is at the end of the long straight line on the south side. There's a little triangle you can see at the end where there's a tree. So that's where they are. But they go obviously into the field. Now I'm just wondering what will happen when they do go in there after all the dust has settled. I can't imagine how they're going to be accommodated. Because the gardens are going to get a bit wrecked, and you know that's just an observation. Whether they stay during 2 years of construction is another matter, of course, entirely. There's something I would like to raise. A member of the public wrote in, I saw, about the New Haven East Water Treatment Works, which are already well over capacity by Southern Water's own admittance. So it's already well over capacity. So I would suggest that, you know, this is 81 inhabitants with all their staff and backup support. So there's going to be a lot of wastewater, which probably can't be coped with at the moment, and with that extra will not be coped with. Also, we've got a problem with water provision from South East Water. So I would say these are material considerations, and I wonder if the committee would be minded to suggest that conditions could be attached to this, whereby South East Water and Southern Water have to demonstrate categorically that they can deal with the extra volume that this will entail. I don't know how they do that, but they've got to be able to demonstrate that. And if it's already failing, I don't know how they can demonstrate that they can take the capacity without an upgrade. So I would just suggest that might be something to think about. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Bristow.
Thank you, Chair. Just picking up on a point which Councillor Meek has made and picking up what Mr Grimble has said. As having recently been pressing for the Newlands Section 106 money to come into such a state whereby we can actually use it in Seaford, and still hitting a lot of hurdles, which I won't go into right now. I do think it's very, very important that the loss of sports provision space, but also the amenity space, is properly taken into account, and I would encourage the full committee members of this committee to include that in your feedback if you're minded to. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Marple.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm just following up on discussions about infrastructure and capacity. 81 new patients, probably new actually, given that they're going to be, diagnosed dementia patients, so not necessarily from Seaford. We have enormous problems with GP capacity. We have even greater problems with our older population having to go between Conquest or other areas for their health care. We absolutely know that dementia patients have comorbidities. They're not just going to be dementia patients, they're going to have physical concerns as well, because they're within the kind of 65 to 100 age group where, we have 3 times as many problems as we had when we were, along our lifeline. So, this is going to be quite a drain on resources, but also it's going to be incredibly difficult to support that. And there is absolutely no information here to support infrastructure in terms of our healthcare services. And then if we go on to normal planning concerns, this is totally away from the normal amount of population surrounding that site of lived housing. This is all much higher density. So I think we know on this committee that there are so many other planning concerns that this just doesn't meet. And I totally agree with what's been said already about sports facilities. I think this is a real issue. So
Thank you.
Just saying.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dunn.
Yes, thank you. I totally support what Councillor Meek said, Councillor Markwell and also Councillor Bristow. The fact is that we received that 350,000 from Newlands. We can't spend it, we don't know where to spend it, we haven't got land to spend it on. Do we upgrade the salts? The problem with the salts, it's a flood area, it's below sea level, it could cause major problems if you put any extra salts down there. They want to give us the 650,000. Chair, can we not find out specifically how, if we were given that 650,000, would we be tied in to a specific, like we was with the Newlands, we had to find football or some form of sports. Is this 650 to be spent anywhere in Seaford? Have we got any regulations on that?
Sorry, it's 200,000 they want to give.
No, I believe they want to offer us...
They want to give 200,000. It was Charlie Grimble that said
I'm the one
it
who's saying
should be
650. It should be
650,000.
I'm sorry,
Not
They only want to give
They only want to do
200,000.
140 plus
I
60.
do apologise, Chair. I thought that
Sorry,
they
Chair.
wanted to give us 650, but Sports England recommended 200. No,
No.
they only want to give us 200,000, not even near
Yeah.
what New. I apologise. Oh, well, that's even worse then. That's made me really angry. What we're going to use that on? So
Town clerk.
Sorry, through the chair, I said I wasn't going to talk in this meeting because this is clerking it, but just to clarify, the money that's from the Section 106 money isn't given to us, it's given to Lewes District Council.
yeah.
And Lewes District Council are the arbiters of whether or not the proposal is good enough. And therefore, if we wanted to spend the current 350, we would need to satisfy Lewes District Council that it's sufficient. And there's no suggestion that this money would be given to us.
No.
If it was going to be given to anyone, it would be given to Lewes District Council. And I just think it's important just to clarify that.
Yeah, Section 106 is actually from the Town and Planning Country Act. It's Section 106 within the legislation, and it comes with restrictions. So that's. But I do have here a letter that because I went on the planning application, and it's from the South Downs National Park Authority, and they're thanking Lewes District for allowing them to contribute. They say thank you for the correspondence, consulting us as a neighbouring authority. They've got statutory guidelines and statutory acts of law that they abide to, and the two statutory purposes of the South Downs National Park designations are to conserve and enhance the natural beauty, wildlife and cultural heritage, to promote opportunities for the public understanding and enjoyment of the special qualities of their area. If there is a conflict between these two proposes, conservation takes precedence. I think we really should take what the South Downs National Park, which is uploaded onto the website, into consideration. And I think it's overpopulated as well. But thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you for noting that. Councillor Olivia Honeyman.
Thank you, Chair. I did a quick Google search this morning to see how many dementia units we had in Seaford already, and we currently, this was a very quick one, so there may be ones missed. We already have 7 care homes, nursing homes in Seaford that already have dementia units with them. There will be the loss of the sports pitches in this area, which we all know we're desperate for, even though this one said it was private, but obviously we've now been told by members of the public that it was used by locals to be able to use it. I know it's irrelevant, but the road surface is horrendous. I went up there the other day to remind myself. I remind myself, and there obviously are pinch points where 2 cars traffic passing is not easy. I've been up there loads of times, but I thought on this occasion I'm just going to go up there again, just to remind myself of what it's like. And yes, the road surface is really poor. Obviously that's not a reason to turn this down, but I just wanted to make that comment. I am concerned about us having another dementia unit in Seaford. I do feel that we do need some accommodation for different ages. Obviously in their gump that they do, what I wanted to know is if this did go ahead, what the housing allocation number would be. And it did say it'd be 45, because that's what I was concerned about, that it was going to actually count to the housing numbers, because obviously that's really important. We don't want another Newland site. I know that was a windfall site and different circumstances, but I wanted to see what number it would be, which is what is there in their gump, that it's 45. So that was something I was looking for. I didn't read every single piece of paper or everything on there, because there was a lot. But I am concerned about another dementia care unit in Seaford when we already have quite a lot, and it would be good to have some more housing for all ages.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Honeyman.
Thank you very much, Chair. At the moment, there's no policy to encourage or subsidise accommodation for young people at any sort of level. And in fact, in the national policy framework, it does mention the elderly people. So in a way, it's making accommodation for elderly people is more what the government's now looking at, and that's in legislation. And as you know, Councillor Hyman did say yes, she says there are a lot of units, but as you know, you can just go any search. At the moment there's about 900,000 people with dementia in the UK, and by about 2040 it'll be 1.5 million, and they predict about 2 million by 2050. So it's going to basically over double the number of people with dementia in this country. Hopefully the research will get that done, and there could be a bit more over forecast. But its elderly population is in the national policy, and so hence I think we have to look at that. As an aside, the playing field side, yes, I wish there was a mechanism where the money from Newlands could actually compulsory buy the playing fields to go towards that playing field on that particular site, one way or other. But there's been no mechanism. That doesn't really happen. That doesn't really work. And Sports England, you have to do it compulsory, any form of playing field, public use or for school. They have to do it anyway, and even they expect it to actually be kept as a playing field. If you read their particular scenario, where the critique, that's a good word, the arguments. The emerging plan of this council, of course, is that it was going to be more general, but obviously there's so much going on behind the scenes at the district level. All the planning statements with the pre-application, with our principal authority who will be making the decision. And as our Charlie Grimble behind me has said, he expects it really to go one way or other, to be basically approved one way or other, even if it goes via appeal, partly because of the district council's not making their 5-year housing decline. So that's one of the biggest factors. We go through all the arguments with ecology, biodiversity, which are very good mitigating circumstances, and including all the infrastructure as well, lack of GPs, the roads not being so good, the water and the sewage. But on balance, I don't think I could actually turn it down at this particular stage, because I don't think there's enough evidence to actually do that. So even though I got reservations, I couldn't really turn it down. Thank you, Chair.
I'll go to Councillor Sturton because you've already spoken, but I noted you.
The thing I think I'm most concerned about is the infrastructure issues. And Fell Road is a beautiful road, but it's not set up for a lot of traffic. And this is a workplace as well as a residential facility, so there will be work traffic even after the construction, and it's a nightmare driving up and down that road. Like, you just don't, and it's not just the surface; it's the width, it's the parking. There's no lines, there's no lighting, no pavements. So in the nicest possible way, it's the worst possible road to have this sort of thing where you've got people coming to and from work. There's a shop and an activity centre, and sort of this is meant to be a village, so there is that kind of villagey usage. So and there's looking at this. There's going to be one access point on. From Fell Road, and presumably it's a gated and fenced. So you've got one tiny access point.
I think there's a footpath as well at the top end.
Yeah.
The other end.
But all of that traffic, lots of times, and is going up and down Fell Road and through one teeny tiny gate. And then you've got the water issues and the electricity issues, and so it's the infrastructure stuff is really concerning to me.
Councillor Lawrence.
Thank you. I appreciate what all the members have said, and also members of the public have said. We have to remember that we don't become hypocrites on the planning committee. Because if there's a greenfield site, we say, oh no, we want brownfield sites. This is a brownfield site. It's a straightforward brownfield site for development. A proposal came in some time ago for 40 houses, which was rejected in the form of that was overdevelopment. We now have another proposal for a dementia area. And with regards to I'm talking material interests. It's straightforward, brownfield site, ready for development. We rejected it once. To me, this is an area fit for development for members of the public, if they've got dementia or not. That's a straightforward material interest. We talk about badges of transit, talk about infrastructure, nothing to do with planning. It's a straightforward planning application. We talk about GPs, nothing to do with it. It's a straightforward planning application. One thing which is not material interest, on the television this morning, we talk about people in corridors because of bed blocking. Well, sure, this will prevent a certain proportion of that by preventing bed blocking. It's not a material interest whatsoever. It's something which goes to a background interest on actually supporting the application. I honestly think this committee will be foolish in rejecting this particular application, because we're talking about things which have no material interest to this particular application, and we've got to be particularly careful on our rejections of applications. Our rejections of applications are actually scrutinised by third parties, and if you reject too many things, not just this application but other applications, so in actual fact, is the planning committee actually doing their job for rejecting everything? We've got to be very, very careful on this issue. As far as I'm concerned, I'm quite prepared to propose this particular application, and things which are not material interest, which I will go into, is the fact the GP surgery in, what's it called, opposite Morrison's, what's that one called? They're saying we've got places for members of the public. They've got spaces there now. What? Can't believe it, there you go. And I was also create employment in the town. I think it's going to create probably 100 or 200 jobs in the town. And what do we say? Youngsters have nothing to do. They can't find a job. Because this particular company will be creating this particular place, it will be doing NVQs for people to come into this particular environment and hopefully then go and further the career in nursing.
Can you keep to the...
I'm just saying a bit. Whenever we talk about badges and water, electricity, sewerage, roads which are absolutely nothing to this particular application, I'm just going to have to say something else which benefits the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I go to council, then everybody's spoken, I think.
Thank you, Chair. I've been in two minds on this all the way through, reading it and looking at the application. While I totally understand that a dementia village and its new concept sounds absolutely amazing, and there are, as Councillor Richard Cunningham said, there's more and more people, and there will be, having dementia. So something like this could be revolutionary and be carried out across the whole country in different areas. I am concerned that this was in a call for sites in the local plan and hasn't even got as far as our objection to the density of it, and actually it should be less dense, because although some of this is a brownfield site, the whole site isn't. Some of it is green open space. And this is why we opposed it on the local plan for the full density and wanted it less dense. This is more than what that is. So they're my concerns, but I quite like it as well. But the pitch, we are already lost Newlands and struggling to find sports areas. Our neighbourhood plan states that we are short of green open space in the town. And this is suddenly another green open space that is going to disappear. Yes, it was a school, but it has been used by the public. And the biodiversity of green open spaces across an area, even if it was in a school and still in a private use, would still help. So I'm still not too sure, because yes, I do like it, and it probably is the best option that we're going to get, because if it isn't this, the likelihood is it will be a care home with even more to go in, and they have kind of spread it out. But I don't like the fact that our call for sites hasn't even gone through yet, and they speak about how they want to get rid of and just go against that and appeal against that if that's brought up. And the pitch, I think, are too big a thing as well.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bristow.
Thanks, Chair. I was just going to follow up on my pet topic, the sports pitches and provision of amenity space. Now, I'm no expert on this, so this may or may not be possible, but given the ongoing problems that we have in realising the spending of the Newland Section 106 money, in the context of that, I would really encourage the committee to A, take into account both the sports pitch provision and the amenity space value, and go for something and seek a figure much larger than 200k. Even the Newlands amount, which was 350k plus a 70k for maintenance at the time, I don't have the exact figure, but it's gone way above that because it's been index linked to
it's not material interest.
Sorry, I'm coming to an idea, Councillor Lord. I'm trying to set that in context. So in the context of that problem that we've had, that many people have touched upon, if this is to go ahead and if the feedback and requests are made from this committee, I wonder whether you could consider asking for such flexibility in any Section 106 money that if it is not possible to spend it or spend it wholly on outdoor sports pitch provision and outdoor open space, which of course is the best thing, but if that is not possible, given the problems that we've had, could we have an option to spend it on, for example, the swimming pool, which is in dire need of upgrade here in Seaford? It's the only one in the district still with communal changing rooms. There's all various things I won't go into. It's the only one who hasn't had a big upgrade, and or indoor provision, for example, for racket sports and other things, the space for which has been diminished after changes to accommodate different types of physical therapy at the Downs, for example. So I'm just wondering whether there's some flexibility that could be called for within any construct of an agreement if this were to go through.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry to stand up again. It's just really occurred to me thinking it all through. I think one of the things we just don't have on this site is that we have our idea of what we'd quite like to see there. The things that have come up about sports pitches and the lack of is that this is gold for us because we don't have any other sites. We know that because of not being able to spend the Section 106 funding. So to actually think about even more negotiation, even though I'm sympathetic to what Councillor Bristow has just said, is not still giving us a site. The gold for us, I think, is that this is land that we can use for sports. And at the moment, if we agree to this, that will all be taken away, however much money we may or may not be able to negotiate. It seems to me that we haven't worked out, I don't know whether we have a group of residents who would like to think about that or whatever, is what we would really like to see, what would be acceptable. Because we have to live in reality, and I accept what Councillor Lord is saying also, something's going to be built on that site. If it isn't this, it will keep coming back to us as a developer site. But if we had a vision for what we really wanted to negotiate, we might feel in a stronger position to do that. I think we will probably in the future have to negotiate that, so perhaps we should be more prepared to negotiate for something that we could say is less hectares per person, less traffic, supports the infrastructure, but also leaves us the potential for the land and the site to still be sporting amenity at some level. But we need to do some work on that, and I just feel at the moment we probably haven't, and what we're tending to be when this site comes up is reactive.
Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, sort of following on from what Councillor Borman has said, is the fact that not the whole site is not brownfield, it's only the area. I know the school very well because my son went there That's how I ended up with links to Seaford, because my son went to the residential at St John's. And it's a big site. I've been there many times. Following on from Councillor Markwell, is to negotiate, because something's going to happen there. We should have the control. I would like to go back to when I came to a consultation here that Isabel, the council organised for the public to turn up, where we were quite happy at that point that we would allow to be built on the brownfield side of this and not on the green space. And I feel that is what we should be pushing for, that we keep the amenity open space and we allow something to be built on the brownfield side of it, even an extension of that, because it goes quite far back in a different way. It goes out sort of that way, but it also goes long ways as well. And there's two buildings. There's the main school and there's a separate house as well.
Okay.
So that's what I'd like to...
We're discussing what is on front of us, not what we want. We've no choice in this. We can't say what we want, what we like. We're discussing which is in front of us, whether they make a decision to go for it or we don't, or defer it, or whether it's as simple as that.
Thank you, Councillor Wood. I mean, yeah, if we object to this application, we've got to have it backed up with policies of why we're objecting.
Okay.
But we're saying that we can also ask for recommendations, say, but we, as Council Lord, we have to look at it as it is, as a planning application. And to my mind, when I opened it up, I was pleasantly surprised and thought, yeah. I mean, we know this land's going to be developed. It's got to be right. It's got to be right for the area, the neighbouring properties and the town. And it is disconcerting about the loss of the play areas. But we've had this problem and still got the problem with the Newlands money. And then we're going to have this as well. I mean, I do like what Councillor Bristow said. I mean, Sports England covers all sports. Just because these football pitches, but it was a swimming pool here as well. So I think, we need to ask, what other areas this money can go to if we're going to lose these pitches. But on the face of it, we need to be backed up with policies on why we're going to object to this application. Because as I look at it now, I can't see any.
I can't either.
Right, Councillor Richard Honeyman.
Actually, I'm bouncing off you now, Chair. Yeah, so if you open up the planning statement, you'll see all the various policies from both the local plan and the existing local plan, all the different parts, and the argument is basically most of those statements we meet, the SCEs and the Lewis versions, including the welfare, the housing supply, the economic weight, the playing field, the environment, sustainability and biodiversity. So we meet all that. So if you agree with their interpretation, the developer's interpretation of the scheme. Otherwise it's a very, very little bit about infrastructure, isn't it? If we do object, all the others are met, so we would just be, well, I myself, I can't really turn it down myself at this stage. The only thing I would say, who's really in control? Is it us or is it the district council planning, really, the officers up there? And who really does the negotiation with the 350,000 or 600,000? It's like Lewis, isn't it, really? They're the ones who do all that. I don't think the town clerk here does, as far as I know. So, we like that word, take back control. I don't know where we heard that one from. But I don't think the overall control is with us, unfortunately, is it? Or fortunately, depends. Anyway, go on.
Just interrupt.
I digress. Sorry, you could.
But going back to the Newlands site, we did have meetings with the planning officer from the head of planning at Lewis District Council and Bellways.
did, didn't they?
We had a number of discussions here about it. So, you know, perhaps we can talk to them. Perhaps they will meet with us and our concerns. And,
Chair,
But we can certainly try.
what's the implications of us deferring at this stage
yeah.
to wait until the local plan becomes a bit more clearer? What would happen if we did say that?
Well, I think we can, you know, just put all our concerns with infrastructure. And the medical services come up every time we have a care home on our agenda. And unfortunately, it's not.
I can't believe there's not a nursing unit in there somewhere.
Yeah. Councillor Olivia Hanman.
Yeah, that reminds me that when I was a district councillor first time round, when the Newland site was being proposed initially, we did have meetings with the developers who met the local councillors to talk to us about it before any decisions were made with this type of thing. So maybe there is an option, just to throw it out there, is whether we defer making a decision on this until we've got, because I mean at the moment we are asked to agree the town council's consultation response. So does that mean we're actually saying yes or no to this application, or it says the town agree the town council's consultation response?
It's the same as a normal planning application
Right.
response.
Yeah. Okay. It's just the way it was worded. I just wanted to confirm that. Well, I know this has been talked about with other councillors, not here, who have been a bit concerned that we haven't had a lot, we've only been just over a week that we've been given this, so we haven't been able to read every single thing in this. I mean, obviously sometimes you just have to just go with what you've got, but I do know when we did Newlands School, I remember I think we met here, we met with the developers as the district council when Newlands site was just being proposed. And then it changed over people who were doing it, there was lots of changes that happened.
Yeah.
But at least we were talked about, you know, there were different developers that happened as well. I mean, it's a long time ago, so I can't remember all the details.
And we also had a big meeting up at the View with the developer represented from the Bellways and head of planning at Lewis.
Yeah, we had a
public meeting, over 100 people came. So, you know,
I think I remember having a meeting, I think it was Pegasus,
yeah.
there were people with them before Bellways. So there was lots of meeting in the Newland School, just as an example.
Can I just say one thing? The legislation's changed in the last 10 years, isn't it, one way or other? So the weight is more on the applicant now, isn't it? And more on the national policy framework. So in a lot of ways, it is more on the applicant at the moment with everything that's going through, not so much when the Newlands development was up. So it is back with the applicant. They've got the upper hand at the moment as far as I can see. Unless I'm told otherwise, I mean,
Councillor Dunn and then
Yeah,
Councillor
just
Sturton.
to clarify what Councillor Olivia Honeyman has said, are we voting straightforward to reject or support, or is it what it says here, the recommendation to consider the Town Council's response to this? So we're not actually saying yes or no to it, is it just...
That is the response.
Just
It's a response, either object or
it will be,
support.
it will be that, it'll be that black and white.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
fair enough.
Councillor Sturton.
So my understanding of this whole situation is we have to decide whether we want to agree or not agree to this. And the reasons we cannot agree is matters of public interest, and this is what Councillor Law has been talking about with the material considerations. And public interest is things like environmental issues, it's infrastructure, it's safety, it's road access, it's traffic generation, it's flood risk, it's biodiversity, it's climate change, it's all these things that we have been talking about. So what we've got is a public interest in having good dementia care. I think it's safe to say we all agree that that's a good thing. But we've also got some really significant public interest issues that have been raised multiple times around the table. Infrastructure, and that's wider infrastructure in Seaford, and that's a public interest, not a private interest. We've got road issues, which is a public interest, not a private interest. We've got biodiversity, we've got badgers, these are public interest. We've got green space, which is a massive public interest issue in Seaford. And all of these are material considerations. So I guess my question for all of us is, how do we balance the public interest in good dementia care, and this is a new way of doing it, and that's great, love it, amazing, but we've got this big suite of public interests that possibly point us in the other direction. How do we balance that?
Thank you. Councillor Meek.
Could I just put in something just to help you consider maybe? When this goes to Lewes District Council, it's all about the tilted balance in the housing numbers. And I don't know if this counts as a dementia care for easing the problem of homes for people. Because this is a dementia care home. So I don't quite know how that number works out, because if it's not going to satisfy the tilted balance for the requirement of LDC's demand of 15,000 homes in the next 5 to 10 years in this district, and we're only in the new local plan going to provide 8,500, we're well short already, about half. I just wonder, at LDC level, they're just going to be worrying about that. If you can get another 45 houses, that's a reasonable amount to be able to say, yes, we tick that off. I just put that out there, and I'm not sure what the answer to that is.
Thank
It's a
you.
good point.
Councillor Foreman, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want, so everyone's got in front of them our response to the Lewes Local Plan site allocation for this site. And if you look at it, that this is in an area of established character. And when we look through our neighbourhood plan and what should be there, the density for what was 40 dwellings, and we were saying the density should only be 18 to 19 homes. Suddenly, this is more than 80. And if you look through it, everything that this is on this site, we could object to going against national policies or neighbourhood plan and everything, which is why we objected to it in full for the site allocation. And I know that they've said that they will try and go against it and appeal because it's still in that site allocation phase and hasn't been decided. But I think our objections to this site and the fact that 200,000 is not enough, that it's greenfield site as well as brownfield site, actually this is our justification for objecting to it. Everything that we said for the site allocation of it less.
And it's still live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
So, on that note,
Let's have a vote.
Point of order. Can we go through the planning statement, please, bit by bit, and then we'll see if the elements of both the local plans have been met, because that's what the applicant's done, and I haven't seen, no one's quoted the SEA numbers or the Lewes district numbers. So yeah, can we go through the whole of the applicants?
No, sorry, I mean it's in our response to
what your one?
SF2.
Yeah, it's a bit vague as opposed to the whole list of all the where they say they met them all, basically, even though some are more substantial than others. Essentially, they've met them all, the applicant. So you're trying to do things against the applicant and against all the parts of both the local plan and the neighbourhood plan. So.
But they will try and justify and fit in.
Well, of course they will. Yeah, I expect that. But you're trying to do a very small part to do with infrastructure.
Can you close?
I mean, we do.
I'm conscious of the time.
Yeah,
I've spent an hour on this.
We spent an hour, yeah, not quite. I want to bring this to a close now, and I want a recommendation on this table, please. So, who would like to make a recommendation?
I recommend we support it.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Not
So we're
supporting.
supporting, we're not raising, we're not objecting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you want to give any reasons of supporting this?
The reason I support it is because I think it's a reasonable development and it will actually comply with our notice. Oh, it's called, what is it? The usual quarter it and say it's against it. I won't say no.
I'm not helping.
I don't know because you've reported against it. I think it's within our neighbourhood plan, and there's a lot of things which have been raised which are outside the scope of material interests. And I also feel, I can't feel because it's just, I can't feel anything because I'm not got to feel it. I've got to what's in front of me, so I just feel it.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of it weight for the welfare side of things. The housing supply, obviously, it makes that substantial weight for that. Economic weight, more of it for providing employment. There's already been activity on the site before with a residential care home, a residential home for the school and the school itself. There's already been a lot of activities there, so you can't really. That's a minimal sort of infrastructure. A lot of the people who won't be driving anyway, so we because they're not able to. So it's
not 2,000 families, is it?
The activity, there's always activity. It's residential care on the previous site. The playing field, yes. I like you to make a comment, nevertheless, over the playing fields. Mention Newlands and the infrastructure about the financial side. If there is a mechanism to actually use the Newlands money for that particular site to swap it over, and actually, it's a district council level, this discussion, isn't it, really? But it might be worth mentioning that in the rationale about is there any possibility? And the environmental side, substantial weight, and most of that's met. You've got the sustainability side for the long term, most of that's been met. Net gain on the biodiversity, that's been met as well. So it's one of those difficult situations. But can you also mention the emerging plan? It's not good timing for the emerging plan happening. Yeah. I don't think it's good timing doing it when I don't know when it's due. The actual next.
I mean, applications come in.
Yeah, I know.
Of,
I mean, there have been public meetings on this particular site as well, as you know. So it's not as though it's the first time we met it. Really, there has been public meetings on this as well. So there has been, and in a lot of ways.
I think it's just more or less saying about, although we support this application,
we've got reservations, Chair. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is the loss of the green space for sporting facilities and the infrastructure as a whole.
Yeah, including the work.
Just to condense it down.
Yes.
So, are you happy with that, Councillor Lord?
Yeah, all I'm going to say is that we lost a playing field. It's nice if we played on 4 times a week, every day a week, every day. Yeah. When was the last time we used the football pitch? I don't know. Probably wasn't done last year, was it? Anyway, so I'm standing by and saying, if we don't have this, we'll have something else. We'll be in 12 months' time. There's something else and something else. The way utility balance is going, 90% is in favour of the developer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so no choice there.
Okay, can we put it to a vote now? So, those supporting this application with the comments about the sporting facilities, the infrastructure,
and loss of playing field, but the support comments being that it's economic within the neighbourhood plan and the reason.
Employ about 250 people, yeah.
Okay, so can I have a show of hands, please? Okay.
Yeah. 3 of 3.
Those against?
Oh, out to be nice.
3, 4, 5.
Out to be popular.
Those abstaining. So that is lost. So now can I have a proposal? Councillor Bournemouth.
I'd like to propose that we object to this on basically our responses from the site allocation because it's inconsistent with the area of established character, doesn't conserve the local character of the area, it's not, obviously, some of it's greenfield sites, so it's the loss of green open space and plain fields. And basically everything that we've said in our response for the local plan allocation into it. But I would like to add that if Lewis were mindful to approve it, that actually they then re-look at the S106 money with the loss of the space, that actually that is improved on, because the 200,000 is not enough.
I'm sorry, you're only voting for or against it. You can't start imposing conditions if it goes forward. You're voting against it.
I can.
Councillor Lord, let Councillor Foreman say her piece, please, without interruption.
So yeah, if they are mindful to approve it, then we do need to have something better coming forward with the money, because 200,000, as we know, 350,000 is not enough, and we haven't got the areas in the towns. 200,000 isn't enough either for anything, and as Sports England and Charlie Grimble said with their allocation, it could actually be more.
Okay, was that fine to seconder? Thank you, Councillor Sturton. And can I have a show of hands, please? And those against? 2, 1 abstaining, sitting on the fence. Okay, so that is carried. Thank you, everybody. Does anybody want, members of the public want to leave at this point? But you're most welcome to stay. Thank you. Okay, that's the review, because I'm conscious of the time. Moving on to LW/26/0077. This is an amended design, if you remember, 3 Sutton Park Road. Councillor Lord. So, I mean, we've had this before the committee, and it was basically about the storage bins at the front, which we had concerns about. On this new application, it has been addressed. So over to the members of the committee. Councillor Richard.
I was happy to support it, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Foreman.
Thank you. I'm quite happy to second that, because we did have grave concerns with the bins and everything, and they've actually looked into that and made those changes, and it's more practical and a lot better, so yeah, quite happy to support that.
Thank you. Councillor Livy Honeyman.
Yeah, the only thing is there were some objections by some members, and this is a bit I couldn't quite, residents, I couldn't quite get my head around enough, where people are saying they're going to be coming out the door now and they won't be able to use their mobility scooters or something, so well, I didn't quite, somebody's put an objection in for that, and I can't remember all the details now, because I looked at this on Sunday.
Something to do with Hawksley, wasn't it?
Yeah. I can't remember.
I couldn't work out
No, that's what I couldn't work out.
Is that them living there, or was that visitor?
I think it was Mr. Fisher.
Let's have a look.
And I know Pegasus have obviously objected, because they sort of they've put quite a meaty objection in there as well. I couldn't work out how it was done from the pictures, but I may have been just because it was somebody who used to work.
But that's just to the front of the building. That's for the old application, because now the bins are at the back.
But that looked like a new. That looked like a new objection.
I think it's
because
it was
it's
sent as a letter.
So amended, so it will still have all of the old documentation on it.
Oh, okay.
So this would probably more than likely be from the previous.
And the one from Pegasus. That was 26.
Yeah,
and then the one from Pegasus was
Yes, because the bins at the front were encroaching on their ground.
right. Okay.
And they've addressed this now.
It's just the way where it appears in the list.
Yeah.
So they changed here the boundary. They were coming out
here.
Well, that's why I also got confused, because when the way that, so I was doing extra work on something.
Okay, Councillor Dunn?
Yeah, having not been here at the previous meeting where you discussed this, is it applies why I abstain? Because I don't really understand. There's obviously not enough detail and I don't want to get into it. So would it be just advisable to abstain?
Yeah.
As I can't really vote because I don't really understand what's being proposed.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically their...
Because no, it's the bank opposite Morrison's, isn't it?
No, this is HSBC Bank.
Oh, that's...
And they're
Tesco. Oh, there. Oh, I see.
And they're converting it, the first floors and above to flats. The ground floor is going to be commercial.
Okay.
And the previous plan with this committee wasn't happy with the bins being on the forecourt.
No.
And also Pegasus came across that they were encroaching on their land as well.
That's the development near Tesco's as well, isn't it? At the back? Yes.
And so now the amended plan has come back, they've addressed that, so I think we're all pretty happy about it. Okay? That's to give you a rough
idea. Right.
Okay, so we've got a proposal on the table that we support this application and seconded by Councillor Foreman. And can I have show of hands, please? Yeah, that's unanimous, thank you.
Something else then, something next
LW/26/0186 Seaford Football Club, Bramber Road. Erection of a football stand and covered standing area, installation of advertisement boards to picket fence immediately adjacent to the clubhouse, and fascia signage to the clubhouse/football stand. I'd like to read on this one.
Just ask for clarification before we start, because I think I brought up before the meeting that there was an inconsistency between the description of the next application on the agenda as opposed to the description and title given on the planning portal.
That's the next one. Yeah, that's the next one, not this one, what we're doing now. Okay. Open to the committee. Who would like to lead on this one? Councillor Markwell.
Oh, you're all right.
Okay, so I kind of get the idea of the stand, and obviously if you're going to have a stand for people seated at, then it needs to be fixed, a permanent position. I'm sure other people will probably sit on it when they're wandering through, so they might end up having children having picnics on it and things like that, but that's not a bad thing. It can become a community amenity. What I'm not completely happy with is the idea of the adverts and the picket fence. I mean, I think we haven't really had the adverts discussion, and I feel slipping the adverts onto this one and then talking about other adverts, it's like it's adverts per se is an issue. So even though I would probably support the stand, I'm not comfortable at the moment about combining that with the request for adverts on the picket fence in front of it.
Thank you. Councillor Foreman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think the design of what they have in the area, and where it's situated actually fills in an area that will make it look nicer in there. So I'm quite happy to support this. The advertising boards on the picket fence, I think it's a small area and it's not too bad. We allow them advertising on their main clubhouse building, and I think it's out the way, set aside. So for this application, I'm quite happy to support it.
Okay.
It's just a very small point. We've got the elevation. Sorry.
I've got Councillor Honeyman first, and then Councillor Bristow.
Yes, I'm still not happy that they've gone for this application before actually getting permission from us, from the town council, because I just think that's a courtesy thing, that you ask the town council first as the landowners. I can see why they want the football stand. The interest on the picket fence again, I mean, the other clubs in the town have to remove their advertising each time. I did have a look to see, and I didn't get around to listing how many Seaford Football Club sponsors have, and how many, say, Premier Football Club sponsors have. One thing I know at some point I need to actually look into, probably hopefully ready for the next meeting, is what the different clubs get from being a member, from a sponsor. Because obviously with the Seaford Town Football Club, they want their balls up all the time, whereas the others, they're not able to have their balls up all the time. So I know I'm waffling here a bit, but I'm slightly concerned about that we should be careful about, it should be the same across the whole town. That whatever the town council sites are, we should have the same principle for each site with when it comes to advertising boards, that they all stay up all the time, or they go down. I'm just waffling at the moment, so.
No, quite right.
But I was also a bit confused about, it said a 3-star FA accredited club. When I did look on the FA grading, no, sorry, it's not a planning consideration, but I just wanted to say out there. I'll stay quiet now.
Through the chair, the head of places told me the reason that they've applied for the planning permission first is because the FA has told them that they need to have all of their permissions in place by the 31st of July, otherwise they have to play their matches elsewhere. And so by waiting for the town councillor's owners permission first before submitting their planning permission would have meant they wouldn't have had all their permissions in place by the 31st of July. That's what the head of places told me is the reason for the order being in an unusual way.
Good. So back through the chair, is there any way we could have been given that information beforehand?
I don't know.
Okay.
We only know that because we inquired why they've done it this way around.
Okay.
And anyone can apply for planning permission for any piece of land. I could do it for your home,
in your back garden.
Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be able to build it, but I could go to Lewis District for planning.
Courtesy.
That's all. Councillor Bristow.
Thanks, Chair. So I'm one of the 3 ward councillors for the Crouch, as everyone will know, as is Councillor Honeyman. You'll be aware, just to follow on from yours, that STFC is a very different football club from Premier. Premier is a youth development side primarily. They don't play in the Southern Combination League, whereas the STFC do, and they have various other women's teams, etc. So they're quite a different makeup. So trying to compare the two doesn't really actually bear much fruit in my mind. But going on to what I was mostly going to say to do with planning considerations on this. Now, I'm quite familiar with the ground ratings requirements and what the club need, and so on and so forth, and I actually think it's a really good proposal that's come through, that they want to put the stand where the current garage is, that is quite dilapidated and not getting used very much. I think it's very sensible to have the standing area in front of the clubhouse, so I'm actually quite impressed with the proposal in that regard. It's very sensible that they've got an access path between the concrete path around the pitch surround barrier at the edge of the pitch and the stand there. I think with the elevations and so on, that it's relatively in keeping with not just the other buildings. You've got the bowling club behind it with their slightly higher roof, it's a slightly different shape, but you've also got the housing on Bramber Road and some blocks of flats, the white ones on Bramber Close and around. So I think that's actually pretty good, and I know they're looking at increasing the capacity slightly in the main grandstand on the Cornfield Road site. That's obviously not part of this, but it forms part of their requirements for putting that in. So I think that's good. The area which I would exercise caution is the adverts. And yes, there's a discussion to be had at Town Council about how we do adverts and all that kind of thing, but I'm going to put that to one side and just think about it from a planning perspective. When you go to the Crouch, it is a designated local green space. Right. And it's designated mostly for 2 reasons. A tranquil green space. Now, of course, football's been played there for a long time, and that's fine, and that's part of it, as are some other sports. However, the reason why there was a very strong local opposition of people who use the Crouch for a variety of uses to the adverts initially when they came through, now we remember at the time it was a retrospective planning application and it was not done ideally, things move on, is that when you stand at the northern part of the Crouch, you come in there, what you've got as your view and your backdrop is Seaford Head, which is now the National Nature Reserve, and the golf course, so it's very green and verdant. You've got some established, what I would call sort of Seafordian character houses on Bramber Road, on Heathfield and so on. You've got trees, and a row of which the trees were so significant locally that myself and others had them, went through the process of having them designated under tree protection orders. So you've got a very sort of green and a very natural space and backdrop and feel to the place. And that was further underlined by, back before I was a councillor, when we did a survey of local residents and why they come, and they said for the peace and so on. And so having the adverts that are currently around the pitch surround, if I may come up here, mostly on the south, when you come in from the north, you're having that view interrupted and your eyes are very much drawn to the adverts rather than to sort of enjoying the green space.
To interrupt you, Councillor,
Yeah.
so these advertising are actually on the...
Yeah.
We're not
Yes.
talking about
No,
the
we're not. Yeah,
surround.
absolutely. Thanks, Chair. So even today from the Mercury, when I was doing my Tai Chi with the doors open, you've got the nice trees and everything, and then you've got adverts. Now, I know there's a separate discussion, separate to this, about what's going to happen with those adverts. But at the moment, for the way I understand planning is you have to take things in the context which they currently are. And currently, there's permission for approximately 40 adverts all around here. The ones which are coming in this planning application, some of them go along the clubhouse like that, which I personally think is completely different to when you look down there, because you won't see them. So you'll only really see those ones when you're in this area, looking towards the town, towards the blocks of flats. It's a different sort of feel that you get when you're on the Crouch Field that way. So I would say that the adverts which are proposed to be on the picket fence in front of the clubhouse are probably going to be absolutely fine and probably will go down really well with locals. The one, and as you probably know, there's one large sponsor advert on the stand there, and nobody seemed to mind about that one either, because it's kind of going back onto the Mercury and other bits and pieces. It's not interrupting that nice view to the trees in Seaford Head. But the one I do worry about is the proposal for a large advert on this north face of the clubhouse. Because if you're stood anywhere here at the north looking down this way, unless it's obscured by this stand, which I don't think it is from looking at the plans, you're going to see a massive advertisement. Sorry, I didn't touch it there. It could be very small.
Keep yourself.
So I would draw attention to the difference in angle and indeed size and elevation of that particular advert that I would see, being a ward councillor, that particular one would probably attract a little bit of negative comment, whereas I would imagine the other ones would probably be quite well tolerated.
This one?
Yes, I mean that one. So, whether they can have it lower or on another side of the building or something, I don't know, but that's something I would feed back as a ward councillor and as having been involved. But yeah, in general, I think with the actual proposal, it's pretty good.
Thank you, Councillor Bristow. Councillor
Yeah,
Dunn.
because this is it's the football stand and then the advertising boards. There's sort of two bits to this one application. I support what Councillor Bristow said. Potentially on the picket fence, whereas we've always had the adverts around the perimeter fence, which is in the middle.
That's the next application.
Yes. So, but I mean, again, we're back to yes or no, isn't it? support or don't support, but you've got two bits in it that you might support one half and don't support the other, Chair. So how does that work?
That's why we've done it.
Yeah, I can see that. But how does that work, Chair?
Well, we can support an application with comments.
Yes.
Like we can, there is an application on our agenda tonight where we supported an extension but objected to another part of the application.
Yeah.
So we can do that, and we can support it and make comments if we are objecting. We can make comments if LDC have concerns. Would they be minded to take and consider blah blah blah? That's how. Yeah, we can do it. Okay.
Yeah, can I just come back through you, Chair? With on the picket fence in front of the clubhouse, will they be permanent? They wouldn't be removed like we would expect.
I think at the moment they're permanent.
It's well noted.
Yes, that's what
it would be permanent. Yes.
Yeah. It's just it's going to be fixed on there, and then I assume whatever advertising or sponsorship they get, they will be in certain agreements.
Yes.
For however long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the clarity. Thank
you. Councillor Richardson.
Thank you. Did you want to talk? You put your hand up.
I did, but
you decided not to.
Councillor Dunn responded well.
Yeah, set the record straight.
just a couple of things. I just double check.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. I just double check Councillor Biss said about tranquility. That can be one of the criteria of that Localism Act 2011 designation. Doesn't have to be, but I mean, as you say, there's various ones, isn't there? But that's where you got your that's where you. Local green space can mean all sorts of things to people.
No,
but
it's a
the Localism Act 2011 was it's in there, but it doesn't have to be. It can be beauty, historical significance, wildlife, recreation value, which it meets quite a lot of criteria there. But it's not 100% tranquil.
No, it's not.
Might be now this time, right? We'll see. That's what I was going to say. When I spoke to Councillor Hayman this morning, I said I didn't think I was going to vote for this, because I didn't like the way we're doing. But it's more, in my eyes, it's more of a, it's not really significant, it's not really a stand as far as I can see. It's more of a shelter, really. That's what I think. Maybe I'm misreading it. It's more of a.
That is a shelter, but
it's more of a shelter than a stand. You see what I mean?
No, that's a shelter. That's not the stand.
That's not the stand.
Well,
the stand is going to be seating.
But,
yeah.
But then it's a shelter as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of. It's a minor stand in that sense. I expected before I looked at it, I thought it was going to be something really significant.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, historically, as you probably know, going back for a bit of history for the ones who have been in the council a while, there was going to be a combined building with the bowling club. It's going to be a combined area, wasn't it? Remember when they were trying to extend, they did have talks about it.
We're digressing at the moment.
Yeah, no, we move on to what we got. So I support it for what it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Minor point.
Yeah.
Councillor Lord.
No,
You're
actually,
So thanks.
What you said, I was going to support very well. Thank you.
And I think touching on what Councillor Mark
bring this
said,
to a close.
I don't know whether you can include this as a planning consideration or not, but there is a simmering problem with antisocial behaviour at the Couch, and I know that the football club get it at the front of their stand, but then the grandstand they've got caged off.
Yeah.
I don't know whether in the plans it said that effectively the new stand and the front of the clubhouse will be kind of, yeah, it's not a very nice expression, but you understand what I mean when I say caged off. Whether that comes into anything, because you know, we do unfortunately get drug taking and other bits going on.
Okay, thank you for all the comments. Councillor Baldwin, do you propose that we support this application? Do you want to add any comments? No. Does that find a seconder? Councillor,
can we do anything about the advertising to say that it shouldn't be there permanently, or is that a different debate? Will that come to full council?
Well, the one.
Because obviously we've only got this in front of us.
We can make a decision as landowners on the advertising, but this is with our planning hats on.
That's why I just wanted to
is it acceptable in planning?
Yeah.
So we can make this decision to say yes, so I'm just clarifying this, yes, we go ahead with the stand, and yes, we say the installation of the advertising boards, but when it comes to the town council meeting, we might vote differently.
Yeah.
So will it affect us if we vote one way this time?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to get that clarified. If we
I
vote
mean,
this way, we're not predetermining.
It's just on a planning basis.
Right, okay.
Through the chair, I would recommend that if we want to make them part-time adverts, that should be enforced through the town council,
Right.
not through Lewis District Council's planning committee.
That's fine. I just wanted to get it clarified how it would work.
Thanks, Steve.
Otherwise, it would be up to Lewis District Council to enforce that, because they were the ones that had given them planning permission. Whereas if that comes from the town council's permission, it's up to us to enforce that. So I would have thought it would probably sit best with us.
Right, I just wanted to get it clarified
Good
also
point,
because of
Steve, thank you.
predetermination.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the rest of it.
I believe that.
Then I'll support it.
Okay. Right, so that finds a seconder. So can I have a show of hands of supporting this application? And that is unanimous, thank you.
Support.
Very hard.
Now, on LW stroke 26 stroke 0187, Seaford Football Club again. And this has got a different, what's on our agenda is different to on the LDC. Thank you for Councillor Bristow on picking this up.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Yeah.
Oh, what does that mean?
So, what's on the LDC?
Well, quite sure now.
It's not as when you go in and look at the documents, they're the same documents that we saw
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
previous application.
Yes,
But then this,
not quite.
but then this has changed as well from when the agenda was made.
So what does that
So
say?
this is now exactly the same as what the previous one was.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, but it has exactly the same documents on it as the previous one. So my suggestion would be that you've already commented on the previous one, which had all of the information in it. There isn't enough information to comment on this one, and there isn't a link between what this was saying when we first got it through and what is now on the Lewis District Council website.
Don't they look the same?
No, they're different numbers. They're different numbers, but exactly the same thing.
Oh.
And when it first came through,
Oh, I
it
see.
was this. So, my suggestion would be that there isn't enough information for you to make an informed decision on the second application.
It's not there.
Because it's not there. And I'll go and find out.
Can we mention the fact that that's what it
That's
said
it was, yeah.
initially?
I think some duplication has happened.
And if the committee is happy that we can't make any further comments?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's like they've done something wrong on their IT at LDC.
Yeah. I mean, the website was down for a while. I don't know if you all knew, but the one of their certificates was wrong. So, but I can, if the committee's happy, I'll take that away. If there is an application process that needs to happen, it will obviously come back, and we'll do a proper discussion.
Through the chair, is there anything we can do to extend our time for consultation of that? Because
because I'll
if we
highlight.
miss the opportunity
I'll
because
highlight
they've messed
this.
up,
Yeah.
they need to extend it, don't they?
They will, yeah.
Is members of the committee happy with
Yeah.
the...
Thanks, Chair.
Take officer's advice.
So, moving on to the bus shelters, and I suggest that we take all of them together because they've all got the same information, unless you've got anything specific from any particular one. Shh. Okay.
No, we're talking about the football side. Sorry, Chair, it's my fault.
Don't take buses.
Our next applications are for the bus shelters, and I suggest that we take all five of them together.
Yes.
As they've all got the same information. Are members happy with that, or
Yeah.
is there a specific bus shelter you want to talk about?
Well,
Okay, right.
was when I snogging,
So it's LW/26/02 3, 4, 5, 11 and 10 bus shelters within the town. And it's the installation of internally illuminated double-sided digital panels as part of the bus stop advertisement. Okay. Over to the committee. Councillor Barker.
Chair. So I'm not comfortable with this at all. I'm presuming, because I'm slightly lacking information, that all these bus stops are LDC bus stops.
They're not ours.
They're not our bus stops.
JC Deverell.
Yeah. I feel that Seaford is trying to remain a sleepy town, which kind of has a nice cultural low-key attitude and surroundings. I don't think we're Brighton, we're certainly not London. I don't think people stand at bus stops long enough, well hopefully not too long in Seaford, to feel they have to be totally entertained. But even so, they've got mobile phones. And I have a concern that introducing this, culturally, this kind of idea just doesn't fit to me with the culture of Seaford. One, I do feel that there is a light issue, even though I know these things may well be turned off, but this is not great for people. If they don't go off till midnight, then they've still got to get, they've still got street lamps, and then they'll have this, that's more lighting. And I don't know, I'm just from a planning point of view, this doesn't follow what we've already got in situ. I think that the idea of having the instructions as to when, the information as to when buses come, that's fine. But I think this on the side, this type of thing is incredibly intrusive and invasive within our kind of, and we're talking about sites that, they may be looking like main roads, but for us they're not very wide main roads, and I just don't think they're acceptable for the designated area.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Councillor Richard Cunningham.
Mr. Chair, as far as I know, all these bus stops have already got advertising at the moment, haven't they? So they've got static, massive posters with lighting on them internally, and they're double-sided, aren't they? They all have stuff. They often have adverts to do with like our soft drinks and sort of burger chains and so on, isn't it? Depending on what they're trying to promote. I expect at the moment there's World Cup ones around. If you look carefully, I haven't looked carefully. I'm sure they are there if we have a look. So I'm just wondering if the precedent's there already. We're not going to lead to. We're not really going to go very far with this if we did. So we don't want them. But I do have a concern with the number of adverts they could hold. It almost like doing scrolling on your phone. You have so many adverts, so it could be like I don't know if there's going to be a limit or what the criteria is on the additional additional advertising, because obviously it's electronic, isn't it? They're going to flip, aren't they? So you could have quite a lot to look at. I don't know if that comes under planning or not. The actual number of adverts you can have on a certain.
No.
It's not really a planning issue, is it?
No.
But that's what's I just thought I'd throw that out just for starters.
Okay. Councillor Sturton.
I think I have got a planning issue about it, and I'm just thinking about walking past other bus stops where they are made with toughened glass, and how often the one opposite the station, for example, which doesn't have adverts as far as I'm aware, is in pieces, and are never seen it intact actually. It gets replaced and then it's smashed the following day. Are these glass monitors more likely to be the target of antisocial behaviour, and do we want that along the main bits?
Thank you, Chair. As I've seen there's an option for CCTV, and I will support this application if we put in the criteria that they are available with CCTV, that we have these bus stops with, I think they're using laminated glass now, Councillor, rather than toughened. But we say, yeah, we'll have them, but we'll have them with CCTV, which is monitored by the local bus company. And what it gives an eye of what's going on there, and perhaps monitor antisocial behaviour. And also goes, when things are lit up, normally they're less vandalised, because people like doing vandalism privately and in the dark. And I think it's just made a way for that. Perhaps just try these 5 bus stops, and if they're less vandalised, well, actually, perhaps we set a bit of a precedent, and perhaps we monitor it. And if there are problems there, we've got CCTV to say what's going on in these bus stops. So I know what people are saying, and I can understand that, but I think, yeah, I would support it with the proviso we have CCTV in his bus stop. Monitor, I think it's monitored by. I don't sort of monitor it now, but I think it's either the highways, I think, something like that. And like I said, the outlet, and they use toughened glass now, laminated, because, laminated glass, not toughened. Toughened shatters, that's why it's made like that. And laminated means it will break, but it cracks. So I will support this application. I'll provide we have CCTV.
Thank you. Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, do we need it to be this digital moving thing to have the CCTV? Can't we have the CCTV with the static ones, or is it because it's built into the...
That's a good point.
Does it have? Is it built into the advert?
I mean, it's just this particular style of...
It will be on installation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just is something they've said they could obviously put in when they install it. It's not with the other... In this application... So what I mean is there is an application for that for any of the other ones that are already there.
Yeah.
They're already there, so we can't request CCTV there now.
No. I meant like, does it have to be digital to get the CCTV? Why can't it just be a static?
I think a lot of the bus shelters are coming to the end of their life.
Yes,
The one opposite Tesco's, you can't enter it at all. It's all taped off. So these are new bus shelters.
Yeah. I see. They're
I do like. They've got green roofs.
Yeah.
They have tried to tick a lot of boxes with the CO2 emissions. I think they've got solar panels to help with the running of them.
I just support what Councillor Markwell said.
Yeah.
Just don't think it's in keeping with
they do say that the digital advertisements will be switched off between 12 and 5 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, they do seem to, sort of covered a lot of their questions. Councillor Olivia Hanlon.
Yeah, I don't know if we can have any say at this, but obviously we've had a letter come through, straight email, from a resident saying about the advertising, if it's food and drinks and all that naughty food that people should be having, or their choice to have it if they want to. It's whether we can have any say over what's on the adverts are. No, I just thought I'd throw it out there because obviously we've had residents, a resident contact us about that.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Hunt.
Just quickly come back, Chair. Obviously, the 5 sites are basically on the mainish roads anyway, aren't they? So they're not. So likely will be at its least aspect in that sense. But yeah, I can see with Councillor Markwell's thoughts of the total number of adverts could be quite distracting. But that's the idea. Partly, it's the idea when you look at it, isn't it? That's one reason why they're there, isn't it? To make you look at them. It's almost a bit like when you go on the underground, you see all the adverts. They all rotate these days, don't you? But it's the way of the world at the moment, isn't it? The modern technology. So.
Okay. Unless there's any other comments. No. So we've got a proposal by Councillor Lord to support this application
with
the CCTV. Can I be awkward? Can I say about bus shelter at Hill Rise, if that can be turned around the other way round, because with it being open,
Weather. Yeah.
And it's facing southwesterly, which is our prevailing wind, and with the traffic whizzing by, you get soaked. That's the hill rise one. Please. Are you happy with that, Councillor?
Absolutely, absolutely, Chair. I wouldn't say anything against that. I wouldn't
Does
say.
it find a seconder, please? I think Councillor Certain just beat you.
Sorry, Councillor.
And can I have a show of hands for supporting this application? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those against? 1. Thank you.
2.
2, sorry. Sorry, Councillor Martwell. But it's supported. Right, where are we? So that's that law. LW/26/0228 Little Chinkton Lane. Correction of a single-storey front and rear extensions, garage conversion, demolition and replacement of existing outbuilding. I think some members will remember this application. So this has come back with the garage conversion.
It's also an appeal, which is what I'm going to say. There's also an appeal.
Yeah. There's you note that there is appeal going through at the moment. So I'm taking this as Plan B. If
So the appeal's on the original one that got turned down. This
on
is a
the
separate.
original with the 2-storey.
Okay.
So this is just for the single storey. Okay. Right. Councillor Martwell first and then
Yeah,
Councillor.
thank you, Chair. Just to make a point that I went round there today and I then had a look. You can't actually get in there because it's electric fence, electric gate.
Fence?
What are you trying to do? Electric gate. But, just saying, I then had a look on Google Maps and the garage has already been demolished and that was on Google Maps, so it must have been on demolished quite a long time ago. So I don't know whether that was on a previous application and they carried on or they just decided to demolish it before they get the planning permission. But I'm sure, I guess that we're more interested in what they're going to replace it with and the other buildings and extensions. But just say that the demolition has already occurred.
Okay. Councillor Vihan.
Yeah, I think it showed in the GUMP that it said in the stuff, in the information that it said that it had been removed a long time ago, a while ago. I think this is a lot better than what was obviously we were initially given, which was a 2-storey, almost like another 2-storey house in the back of the garden.
Yeah.
So this is obviously now being a single storey. The only thing I would like to do is if we do approve it, that we lock it down.
Electric fence.
Yeah, with an electric fence. That we lock it down, that it can only be used for the purpose that it's being done for, and it's only for the owners, that it can't be turned into an Airbnb or anything like that. That's what I mean by when we do the lock it down bit, if that can be done, because obviously, yeah, this is a totally different application to the original one. So I'm happy to support this now that it's only a single story, if we can lock it down.
Okay, I'm sure we can make that comment. Councillor Borman.
Can I just add to that actually then they can't come back with a further planning application to put a second floor in as well?
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, we only agreed to single story.
Yeah.
That's a single story.
Yeah.
And you second?
I do.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments? Can I have a show of hands of supporting this application with the added comments? And that's unanimous. Thank you. LW/26/0233 43 South Down Road. Alterations to first floor side windows. And I think it's just 2 windows which have been altered.
Chair, I support this application. It's something and nothing.
Yeah. Does that find a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Hanneman. Any other comments? And can I have a show of hands of support in? That's unanimous, thank you. LW/26/0244 Sutton Corner Garage, Eastbourne Road. Variation of Condition 1 approved plans in relation to approval of LW/23/0677 to amend the roof design and alterations and fenestration and external materials. I'd like to lead on this one. Councillor Richard Cunningham.
Thank you, yes, the work's already started anyway. They've cleared the shop out at the moment. There's been modern fittings in there, so that's sort of opened up in the last day or so. And they have changed some of the significant signage on that particular petrol station. So in a lot of ways, I think, yeah, it's already sort of ongoing at the moment. So I support it though.
Thank you. So point seconder. Councillor Surton. Any other comments? Any other comments? So can I have a show of hands?
Sorry, Chair. This is a point. When people put in planning applications and then they start working on it before they've even had the yes, I mean, I do find that a little bit cheeky, really. I mean, they have been starting to do this work over the last few weeks.
They had the application approved in 23.
Oh,
this is a variation to a condition.
They've obviously come up, problems arise.
Yeah, that's fine. I totally accept that.
And applications only last 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I have a show of hands of supporting this application? Yes, again. Thank you. Right, SDNP/25/04080/FUL and ESCC/2025/001/CB Chinkton Brooks, Eastbourne Road. I think I need to read it all out. I think most of the councillors are familiar with it. So who would like to lead on this one? Councillor Olivia Hanneman?
I'm going to stick my neck out here and just say that, a bit like we said last time, that obviously the experts have gone through this and we're not experts. Well, I'm certainly not an expert on this. And obviously they've done their due diligence and worked through this, I assume. There was masses and masses of papers to read. So I would suggest that we go with what's been recommended by the people who know what they're doing. I'm not sure that's the right or wrong thing to do, but I think we decided last time that we would go with what the experts who had done all the research on this. That's just a throw it out there.
I think, I mean, reading through all the queries which different organisations have,
like that,
and they sort of, you know, have tried to address it all. And there was quite some interesting points as well.
I had a look at that, a very quick look at that, and I thought, well, they've dealt with them.
Yeah. As you say, there's a lot of expertise in this subject.
It's a job, isn't it?
Okay. Oh, sorry, Councillor Bristol.
Sorry, can I just ask, obviously I'm sitting in tonight with the hope of joining the committee, that this application, this is the one that was very close to us in Goscar, because we first at Goscar and then at the full council gave our consent for a footpath to be moved up our land. So how much of this is directly on STC land? And I'm slightly unclear with what Councillor Honeyman has said with regards to following experts. Well, there are an awful lot of experts. Surely our job as councillors is to scrutinise to a reasonable level what's been put in front of us and think about it in terms of how it would affect perhaps our direct interest in it in terms of the land, but also the wider interest, to public interest to our residents and our residents' use of the area. So for me, I would really be thinking about, I mean, having grown up and lived in Seaford, I can completely understand the need and the desire, because it's come about several times in much larger ways, to increase the salt marsh area, which is a significant habitat that we don't have enough of in this country and in the southeast in particular. But at the same time, there's the moving of a path, which we've discussed and so on earlier, but also there's the loss of the riverside path, which I know has been a real hot topic in the community, and not just with the specialist groups such as the Ramblers, but with everyone who goes down walking to the Cookmere, because that path there alongside the river is really well used and well loved, and points have been made about whether just breaching those banks in a passive way is actually balancing the needs of both wildlife and human visitors, or whether it's not really, because that path would be lost. Thinking about the human visitors to the area, and therefore perhaps pushing humans further up and potentially into more dangerous areas and crossing the river and so on. Whereas, for example, on the other side of the river, where you've got sluices, I'm very familiar with them, having canoed down on the meanders for much of my teens and 20s, where you can to a degree actively manage the water which is going in and out, whereas that hasn't come here, presumably because of cost. I'm not saying we want to put a spanner in the works of the whole thing, but at the same time, I do think that, for me, hearing what Councillor Honeyman has said, I would also be keen to represent the residents on this one as well, not just be minded to agree with experts. Thank you.
Anybody else like to make a comment on this? Councillor Bourne?
I'm just going to support Councillor Honeyman's that we just accept this as it is, as we've discussed it more in depth when it first came to us, and what's coming back is from the responses that have been received from many organisations that they're rectifying and put things into place that actually fixes the issues that groups and councils have had over the time. So I think it actually works better now, so I'm quite happy to support them.
Councillor Richard Honeyman?
Thank you, Chair. It's like sort of Councillor Bristow's saying, but I mean, a lot of ways, at the end of the day, the path's going to be diverted, and because of the issue with well, partly subsidence and partly because of the way that the tide has sort of changed over so many years. And I mean, I'm not an expert to talk about, and I mean, I think if I went down my road and knocked on the door, the canvas people, I don't think people would really understand it anyway. Most of us wouldn't. So I think we are relying on other people's, expertise really up to a point. And perhaps you probably Councillor Bristol probably knows more about it than I do this side of it. That's partly you probably know a lot about it. Don't you?
Reading this document.
So I mean, yeah,
I found it very interesting reading of all the different things it covers, even down to the the anti-tank post, which it Ray2 listed. I mean, it's covered everything. So I was, it was quite interesting reading. So, yeah. Okay, Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, could we, if this is supported, could we just take on board what Councillor Bristow's? Can we have that as comments as well? That we recognise the public use of this area as well. Are we allowed to do that? Bring in some comments. The public interest.
That's right, sorry. Are you happy for
because
the additional comments?
Councillor Bristow is not more knowledgeable on this subject then. Yeah, so we can add Councillor Bristow's comments in.
Okay, and you would happy as well? Okay.
So we're adding those into our previously submitted.
Yeah. Okay. Right, can I have a show of hands of supporting this application? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Getting there. Right, we've done St John's School. Agenda item 5. South Downs National Park local plan So it's to present the committee with the South Wales National Park Open Plan Regulation 19 for consultation, and for the committee to note, unless you've got any further comments. Councillor Bourne.
Obviously we had the call for sites for them, and there was sites in Seaford that were in it, but once they did their land availability assessment, they've actually been taken out, which has been great. All we can do is hope Lewis take note and do the same, but I'm quite happy with noting this.
Okay. Any other comments? So I've got a proposer to note the comments by Councillor Borman. Does that find a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Certain. Can I have show of hands, please? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 6 is an update for the committee on previous applications which we've had no objections to or objected to, and you will see we've also got 2 appeals. Any comments? Councillor Dunn?
Yeah, I read through them and I was really shocked at page 17, the objection from Seaford Town Council on the 131 North Way, which was, reading this, it was very valid, the point, and everything you brought into it, the policies, the DM25, the rules, local plan and everything else that's mentioned, and our own Seaford neighbourhood plan, and LDC approved it. I was jaw-dropped. There's nothing we can do now. That's it. They've made that decision, and this will go ahead irrespective of everything. I was really shocked.
Yeah.
It almost makes one wonder why we would sit here and
I wonder that as well.
And sadly try to, we live here. This is our home and our town, and we know how it affects us. And people in another area, I just wanted to make that comment. I was really shocked.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, that really quite upset me really, that you made the effort to...
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes though they do listen.
Yes, but I think if we say no, they say yes, and if we say yes, they say no.
There have been occasions where we have objected to an application, and with our reasons, and they have literally taken them on board. Although they've approved it, they have also sort of made a condition on points what we've said.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's that last sentence. On balance, the development is considered acceptable. So we were, when we were making objections, going, we'll do these, but there could have been that it's not, and they've looked at it and gone, which way, and on balance, they've just gone there. So it was a...
Yeah. I know. It was that was the shock. It was because of how much effort had gone in to why you didn't just, because as I read today on this, you have to have valid planning reasons for saying no, and obviously that was a bit of a shock. But there you go.
Thank you for pointing out. Any other? Anything else? No? So can I have show of hands to just note the report? That's unanimous. Thank you. And that concludes the meeting at 9:38.